Get to just some game status updates here in a second, but really proud of our guys for the work of the week of preparation that we had with the extra day on Monday, and then pairing that with 3 really good days. I feel really good about our team being able to go compete. Heck of an environment. Dan's got a really good football team. We know well, they know us well. So just fired up. I can tell the team's excited to get a chance to go compete in the NFC North. So it's been a good week, and we got to go play well. Just a game status update. We'll have 3 players ruled out: CJ Ham, Jeff Okudah, and Josh Oliver. We'll have 4 players questionable: Andrew Van Ginkel, Brian O'Neill, Josh Metellus, who just had some foot soreness, and then Christian Darrisaw right there. So other than that, good week of prep. All those guys that I just mentioned as questionable were either limited or full today, based upon a Fast Friday workload. So open it up to you guys.
Was Van Ginkel full?
By my eyes he was, and by the sheet he was as well. Yeah, no, he's had a really good week. Anticipate him playing.
JJ McCarthy's full practice week, how did he look to you?
Yeah, it was great to see him fully kind of look like himself. On Monday, you kind of felt like he was set up to have a great week, went out there and had a good day, and then that rolled right into every day this week. And the best thing was just post-practice, no soreness, no anything like that. So he feels 100% ready to go.
Van Ginkel, if he plays, would you expect him to be on a snap count, or?
I think we're going to talk through that. I think with our defense as a whole, one of the things we're pretty excited about was the depth we did have, and getting back a little closer to that original picture, especially in the front 7. Dallas Turner's played a lot, gotten a lot of valuable snaps, and now getting Gink back. What it looks like could be based on situation down and distance, or as the game kind of goes and the dialogue with the players and the medical staff. But I think he's full, he's ready to go, and we'll see kind of what his workload looks like. I'm just excited to get him out there.
Kevin, with the Ben Sims up to speed and able to go Sunday?
Ben Sims is up to speed. He's ready to roll. We're going to, evaluate whether, those 3, with the game plan we have, what it looks like for Sunday. Nick Vanette's always a possibility, as a veteran player that's been working towards this. He was up earlier this season, and we still have his elevations left, as well as Bryson. So we'll, all those guys kind of took some reps, different phases of the game plan, and we'll make a determination for Sunday.
With the way they run the ball, what kind of a challenge do they present? I mean, you guys have seen them many times, but what kind of a challenge do they present as you try to get the run defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, their staff, and I know Hank's got a lot to do with that, Hank Fraley. Scheme is very difficult. I think they've got, clearly one of the best backs in football, and then if you're counting David Montgomery as a 1A, 1B, that's a heck of a group. I mean, they are the best set of running backs in the NFL. It's been that way for a while, and they both do so many things at such a high level, whether it's explosiveness, power. They both can catch the football. They both can protect. 2 totally complete backs that are a problem, and you pair that with the personnel they have up front and the tight ends that they have and their ability to block on the perimeter with the wideouts. It is an all-11 challenge, and you got to meet it. You got to meet it against this team, especially when they play at home. And we know the challenge that it is. I think Flo and the staff have a really good plan, and the players are excited about it, and they just want to get a chance to go compete. Full week of preparation, kind of a lot of things in our rearview mirror as far as circumstance limiting practices here or there, not being able to practice, in this country and things like that. That's all behind us. We just got to go play and have confidence that we've had a week of preparation. Excited about it.
You've been hopeful about both Darrisaw and O'Neill early in the week. Are you still feeling that way, or did anything change?
Yeah, no, I think CD, with his kind of plan to return, it's always been about kind of managing the week based upon how he's feeling and getting him as ready to go as we possibly can for Sunday. I know he felt really good today, and obviously we'll see how he does after the workload today, see how he shows up tomorrow, but we feel really good about those guys right now. Yeah.
Kevin, with TJ Hawkinson, it's kind of been up or down in a given week. How do you get him going more often consistently?
I think one of the things is, when there's there's only so many people when you start talking about some of the things that's happened along the O-line that you're trying to give help here and there when you can, and kind of have the starting point of a successful play on the down be one where you can keep the quarterback upright as best as possible. And there are defensive players on every defense we play and have played this season that can be schematical problems because there's very little scheme to limit their impact on the game, and sometimes it requires the tight ends to be selfless. And TJ's made some big time plays for us in moments this year, even off of helping on the edge a little bit, which is a pretty unique trait to him. But clearly, between TJ and our receiving core being some of the most impactful players on our whole team, we want to get those guys involved in the game, get them doing the things that they do well. And for TJ, I would put a lot of things he does well ahead of helping on the edges, and it's kind of a necessary thing when certain games and situations happen, but there's no question we want him to be heavily involved in the game. Thank you, guys.
Vikings at Lions this Sunday. The Lions a great season. Vikings not so much, but guess what? This guy, he's going to provide a boost. QB J.J. McCarthy, he has been out 6 weeks with that high ankle sprain, but he is poised to return Sunday and make his third NFL start. He will do so in Detroit. That's got to get Vikings fans excited after a tough season for them. All right, we welcome back in our NFL insiders, Tyler Sullivan and JP Acosta. McCarthy says he's feeling amazing, that he's ready to go. How much of an impact will he make? Because they're hopeful that this is the start of something special for the Vikings with McCarthy at the helm. Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, I have my doubts that this will be something special for 2025. Now, this is a player that Kevin O'Connell has a long-term view on. So this isn't just for week 9 in the NFL in 2025. This is for 2026, 2027, and hopefully beyond. And so the reason why I'm a little bit apprehensive to say, okay, this is splash, you're going to get your QB1 for week 1 back into the fold, because he hasn't looked great when he was that QB1 for the Minnesota Vikings to begin the season. He was really that fourth quarter comeback against the Chicago Bears, and everything else around that was a little bit uneasy. More turnovers than total touchdowns in his 2 starts. He was throwing for 152 passing yards per game. It's not like this was a prolific J.J. McCarthy that we unfortunately saw go down with a high ankle sprain, to the point where I wrote on CBSSports.com, was this a relative soft benching for him? I mean, you have Carson Wentz, who they described to be as banged up as humanly possible over the last few weeks, and you have a guy like J.J. McCarthy practicing on a limited basis. So what does that tell us to a degree? So I'm a little concerned about what J.J. McCarthy is going to look like once he gets under center. Okay, so we're excited to watch McCarthy, even though you're concerned about what he's going to look like. We got to ask you about the other Vikings player to watch, which is wide receiver Jordan Addison. Since returning from his suspension, he's had a productive season, very reliable. But what do we need to watch for this Sunday from him, Tyler? Specifically, look for him in the red area. He has been someone that the Minnesota Vikings have really turned to when we get into scoring position. He has more red zone targets than Justin Jefferson. Of course, some of that has to go with how coverages play against Justin Jefferson and how that helps free up Jordan Addison. But it makes no mistake about it, he is someone that they like to scheme up in the red area, and this is a good matchup for him to find the red zone. The Detroit Lions, believe it or not, have allowed the second most receiving touchdowns to wide receivers in the NFL, only looking up to the Dallas Cowboys. And anytime your defense is talked about in the same breath as the Dallas Cowboys, not necessarily a good thing. So look for Jordan Addison to possibly get in the red zone this weekend.
I love the Jordan Addison impact player shout. I'm going to go with defensive tackle Jalen Redmond. He's been incredibly efficient on pass rush snaps. He has a 13.6% pressure rate on only 118 pass rush snaps. And if you're going to beat this Detroit Lions offense, you have to win up the middle of the offensive line where they're most inexperienced. The Vikings need somebody on that defensive line to really step up, to really make an impact as a pass rusher. And Jalen Redmond's quickness and his burst on the inside of the line of scrimmage really might give Jared Goff some problems. And they're going to need them, especially if Andrew Van Ginkel isn't 100%. All right, JP, we know the Lions have that emotions for this game. I think I know what both of you are going to say. I know I'm taking the Lions. Seems like a foregone conclusion in my mind with this matchup. But what do you say? Guys, we'll start with Tyler first.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions here. The big thing for me is this offense at Ford Field is absolutely prolific, one of the highest scoring offenses at home in the NFL. And when I compare that to my concerns about the Minnesota Vikings offense with J.J. McCarthy, I just have a question of whether or not they're going to be able to keep up. So for me, it's a set and forget, lay the points here, go with the Detroit Lions.
I'm also picking the Lions here, but I think it's more because the offensive and defensive lines for the Vikings have not been up to par this season. If you're going to start a rookie quarterback, essentially a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, you have to be good on the lines of scrimmage, and the Vikings just haven't, which doesn't match up well with the Detroit offense and defensive line that has played really well in the last few weeks. I just think if things start to get hairy, they're going to run the ball down their throats, and I think Detroit's going to run away with this one.
There you go. We got the predictions. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate the time and the insight. Take a look at the odds to win the NFC North. Of course, the Packers right there at the top, but the Lions not far behind. Not surprising. We'll be right back.